ਸਤਨਾਮ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀਓ। ਸੂਹੀ ਮਹੱਲਾ ਪਹਿਲਾ ਘਰ ਛੇਵਾਂ। ਇੱਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ। ਉਜਲ ਕੈਹਾਂ ਚਿਲਕਣਾ ਘੋਟਿਮ ਕਾਲੜੀ ਮਸ। ਧੋਤਿਆਂ ਝੂਠ ਨਾ ਉਤਰੈ ਜੇ ਸੌ ਧੋਵਾ ਤਿਸ। ਉਜਲ ਕੈਹਾਂ ਚਿਲਕਣਾ ਘੋਟਿਮ ਕਾਲੜੀ ਮਸ। ਧੋਤਿਆਂ ਝੂਠ ਨਾ ਉਤਰੈ ਜੇ ਸੌ ਧੋਵਾ ਤਿਸ। ਸੱਜਣ ਸਹੀ ਨਾਲ ਮੈਂ ਚਲਦਿਆਂ ਨਾਲ ਚੱਲਨ। ਜਿੱਥੇ ਲੇਖਾ ਮੰਗੀਐ ਤਿੱਥੈ ਖੜੇ ਦਿਸਨ। ਰਹਾ ਕੋਠੇ ਮੰਡਪ ਮਾੜੀਆਂ ਪਾਸ ਹੋਂ ਚਿਤਵਿਆਹਾਂ। ਢੱਠੀਆਂ ਕੰਮ ਨਾ ਆਵਨੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੋਂ ਸਖਣੀਆਂ। ਬੱਗਾ ਬੱਗੇ ਕੱਪੜੇ ਤੀਰਥ ਮੰਜ ਵਸਨ। ਘੁੱਟ ਘੁੱਟ ਜੀਆਂ ਖਾਵਣੇ ਬੱਗੇ ਨਾ ਕਹੀਅਨ। ਸਿਮਲ ਰੁਖ ਸਰੀਰ ਮੈਜਨ ਦੇਖ। ਸਿਮਲ ਰੁਖ ਸਰੀਰ ਮੈਜਨ ਦੇਖ ਭੁਲਨ। ਸੇ ਫਲ ਕੰਮ ਨਾ ਆਵਨੀ ਤੇ ਗੁਣ ਮੈਂ ਤਨ ਹਨ। ਅੰਦਲੇ ਭਾਰ ਉਠਾਇਆ ਡੂਗਰ ਵਾਟ ਬਹੁਤ। ਅੱਖੀ ਲੋੜ ਨਾ ਲਹਾ ਹਉ ਚੜ ਲੰਗਾ ਕਿਤ। ਚਾਕਰੀਆਂ ਚੰਗਿਆਈਆਂ ਅਵਰ ਸਿਆਣਪ ਕਿਤ। ਨਾਨਕ ਨਾਮ ਸੰਭਾਲ ਤੂੰ ਬੱਦਾ ਛੁੱਟ ਹੈ ਜਿਤ। ਚਾਕਰੀਆਂ ਚੰਗਿਆਈਆਂ ਅਵਰ ਸਿਆਣਪ ਕਿਤ। ਨਾਨਕ ਨਾਮ ਸੰਭਾਲ ਤੂੰ ਬੱਦਾ ਛੁੱਟ ਹੈ ਜਿਤ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, today's Pavan Pavitr Hukamnama Sahib from Sri Darbar Sahib, Sachkhand Sri Harmandir Sahib is on Ang 729. So ਅੱਜ ਦਾ Sri ਹਰਮੰਦਰ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਦਾ, Sri Darbar Sahib ਜੀ ਦਾ ਹੁਕਮਨਾਮਾ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਅੱਜ ਅੰਗ 729 ਅੰਗ ਉੱਪਰ ਹੈ। ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਸੱਚੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ ਦਾ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਹੈ ਸੂਹੀ ਰਾਗ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ। So this Shabad is by Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah Ji in the Soohee Rag. Paatshah Ji start off with the Mangla Charana of ikOankaar Satigur prasaadh, meaning that to obtain that one where we have all come from, that one that we are all yearning for, whether consciously or unconsciously, that Paatshah Ji saying that Satigur prasaadh, the union with that one can only be attained through the true Guru. ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ ਇਸ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਉਚਾਰਨ ਕੀਤਾ। ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ they recited, they sang this shabad in a place called Tulamba. And ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, this place Tulamba, Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah Ji and Bhai Mardana Ji were on their travels. Bhai Mardana Ji asked, says Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah Ji, can we go somewhere ਜਿੱਥੇ ਕੋਈ ਵਾਸਾ ਹੋਵੇ? Can we go somewhere where there's a bit of people? Because we've been wandering around, we've been traveling through jungles, and we've not really met anyone for a while. And it'd be nice to go somewhere where we can actually see some people. Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah Ji ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਚੱਲ ਮਰਦਾਨਿਆਂ, let's go. ਜਦੋਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ ਤਾਂ ਮਰਦਾਨਾ ਜੀ ਜਦੋਂ ਗਏ ਨੇ ਤੇ they entered this village of Tulamba. And Sangat ji, when Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah Ji entered this village, they went towards a particular house. And when Guru Paatshah Ji went towards this particular house, Bhai Mardana Ji would normally get very happy. बहुत खुश हो ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸਨ ਕਿ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਦੇ ਘਰ ਚੱਲੇ ਆ, ਕੁਝ ਵਧੀਆ ਕੁਝ ਸੋਹਣਾ ਖਾਣ ਪੀਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਮਿਲੂਗਾ, that we'll get something nice to eat and drink, that now we're going to go to somebody's house. But Sangat ji, ਅੱਜ ਕੁਝ ਵੱਖਰਾ ਸੀ. Today was something different and separate. As they approached this house, Bhai Mardana Ji took a step back. Bhai Mardana Ji ਨੇ ਇੱਕ ਪੈਰ ਇੱਕ ਕਦਮ ਪਿਛਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਰੱਖ ਲਿਆ। ਤਾਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗੇ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਮਰਦਾਨਿਆਂ ਕੀ ਹੋਇਆ? Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah asked ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਮਰਦਾਨਾ ਜੀ ਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਮਰਦਾਨਾ ਜੀ what's happened? ਭਾਈ ਮਰਦਾਨਾ ਜੀ ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਇਸ ਘਰ ਵੱਲ ਜਾਂਦਿਆਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਦਿਲ ਘਟਦਾ ਆ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕੁਝ ਅੰਦਰੋਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕੁਝ ਸਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਗ ਰਿਹਾ ਭਾਈ ਮਰਦਾਨਾ ਜੀ said as we're approaching this house something doesn't feel quite right and I don't know my inside isn't agreeing with going forward ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੋਈ ਅੱਜ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ ਭਾਈ ਮਰਦਾਨਾ ਜੀ ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਨੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਬਚਨ ਕੀਤੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਮਰਦਾਨਿਆ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਤੇਰੀ ਝਿਜਕ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆ ਨਾ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਝਿਜਕ ਤੇਰੀ ਸੱਚੀ ਆ ਮਰਦਾਨਿਆ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ you holding back from going forward to this house ਕਹਿੰਦੇ your ਝਿਜਕ there's something that is holding you back ਕਹਿੰਦੇ it's true it's coming from a true place ਪਰ ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਪਰ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਜਾਣ ਤੋਂ ਬਿਨਾਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਸਰਨਾ ਬਣੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ but where ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸਰਨਾ ਨਹੀਂ meaning ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਸਿੰਘ without going here it's not gonna be ਸਰਨਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਭਾਵ what that actually means is Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah says there's a need here we need to go here so Bhai Mardana ji is looking at Guru Nanak Dev Ji trusting Guru Nanak Dev Ji Sache Paatshah Ji whatever Guru Sahib Ji say unhone darwaja khadkaya and they knocked on that door and somebody came that opened that door was dressed in these white religious robes and looking very holy from the outside and coming across in a very humble stance as well, Sangat Ji. And when he opens the door and he looks at Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah Ji's matha, he looks at Guru Nanak Dev Ji's mastak, and he's thinking, wow, namo surj, namo chandra. It looks as if that the sun, this is the sun of suns, this is even where the sun gets its radiance and light from. Utte, oh, andron, he's thinking, oh, this is amazing. This somebody whose forehead is shining so much must be very rich. वो अपने अंदर सोचता है ये बड़े धनवंती होंगे must be so rich somebody whose forehead is shining so much. गुरु नानक देव जी पातशाह जी कहन लगे कहंदे गुरु नानक देव जी पातशाह जी प्यारियो उत्थे गुरु नानक देव जी पातशाह जी standing there and this person that's opened the door to his house he says he goes come inside my house is open for all ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਮੇਰਾ ਨਾਮ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਸੱਜਣ ਕਰਕੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ people call me Sajjan Sangat Ji translates to friend he's saying that people call me this because I'm a friend to all he said ਜੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਹਿੰਦੂ ਭਰਾ ਆ ਜਾਣ if a Hindu brother comes or sister comes we've got a place we've got a little mandir for them to be able to go in and do whatever rituals or prayers that they carry out and he says he goes ਸਾਡੇ ਮੁਸਲਮਾਨਾਂ ਭਰਾਵਾਂ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਛੋਟਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਮਸਜਿਦ ਬਣਾਇਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਜੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ if they want to carry out their prayers we've got even a mosque made for Muslims as well he says so I'm a sajjan I'm a friend to all he goes ਅੰਦਰ ਆ ਜਾਓ ਤੁਸੀਂ you're welcome here ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ is gone inside ਤਾਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਬੈਠੇ ਨੇ ਤਾਂ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ ਜਦੋਂ ਬੈਠੇ ਨੇ ਤਾਂ and he's thinking now he's gone back and he's thinking that this is going to be a big catch for me because Sajjan asal vich kaun hai who is Sajjan Sangat Ji is no Sajjan is no religious person from the outside maaf karna from inside this is just a show from the outside and he's thinking that now I've been able to capture a big fish today because he looks very wealthy he's got a bag in his hand must be full of wealth look at his forehead the way it's shining So not like today, not like nowadays where we're carrying around credit cards and or even we're just, on our phone doing our Apple Pays or whatever it may be. So he's thinking that he must be carrying a lot of money. Look at his forehead shining so much. But who was Sajjan? Sajjan was somebody, Sangat Ji, that would actually bring people into his home and pretending that he's there to actually serve them. And he gives them a place to stay a night he gives travelers a place to stay a night and he gives them food as well but what he actually does is he poisons people through whatever drink or food he gives them and through them poisoning them then he actually throws their bodies down a well and he takes all their wealth Sangat Ji so today he's planning that prasaadh vich he's put poison in the food that he's prepared in the prasada he's taken it forward and Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah Ji ਵੇਖਣ ਲੱਗੇ even today Bhai Mardana Ji isn't feeling that feeling that they would normally have and is excited to eat. But even Bhai Mardana ji today is thinking that I don't feel like eating this food. ਇਹ ਤਾਂ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਖਾਣੇ ਵਾਲੇ ਵੇਖਣ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਜੀ ਕਰਦਾ. Don't even feel like looking towards this plate of food. Guru Nanak Dev ji ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਖੇਚਲ ਨਾ ਕਰੋ. Don't worry, don't put yourself out. Guru Nanak Dev ji ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਭੁੱਖ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਗੀ. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਅੱਜ ਭੁੱਖ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ we don't feel hungry. Sajjan say no, you're a guest, you must eat something. Give me this opportunity to serve you. Guru Nanak Dev ji ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਜੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਅੱਜ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਇਹ ਛਕ ਲਿਆ ਤੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ we're not hungry today. And Guru Nanak Dev ji ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਛਕ ਲਿਆ ਤੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਨਾ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਉਹ ਕੰਮ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਣਾ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ the work that we need to carry out, we're not going to be able to carry out the work if we eat this food today. Sajjan Tag's taken that plate of food back, and he sat down around with his friends that are in the kitchen, and they're all of the same mindset, and they're all in it together. And he sat down and he said, he made this man whose face is so radiant and void is shining, he made a very strange comment. What he said was that if I eat this food, I won't be able to do my work. I wonder what he means by that. Do you think he knows what we're about? Do you think he's an agent? Do you think he's a spy? Do you think he's been sent by some sort of local governor and they've got an insight on what we've been up to and what we've been doing? Do you think he's spying on us? Why would he make that comment? And they said, you know what, you're just looking into it too much. I wouldn't worry if I was you. They said, you know what the best thing to do is, they said, you know what, that a lot of the time, if you have a host as a woman, if you have a woman as a host, maaf karna, they said if you send in a woman, and I'm sure that she'll be able to work her spell on him and be able to give him something to drink at least if he's not going to eat anything. He said, so what we'll do is we'll get the maid and we'll get her to actually, she was quite elderly, he said, but like a lot of the times women are able to talk men around. He said, so we'll send her in and we'll try and give him we'll put the poison in the milk this time. So ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਕੀ ਕੀਤਾ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਦੁੱਧ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਪਾ ਕਰਕੇ ਉਹ ਬਿਖ, they put that poison into the milk. ਉਹ ਜ਼ਹਿਰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਦੁੱਧ ਵਿੱਚ ਘੋਲ ਕੇ ਤਾਂ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸੀਗੀ ਬਜ਼ੁਰਗ, that she was slightly old and she came to give Guru Nanak Dev ji ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ this glass of milk. ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ but when she's seen Guru Nanak Dev ji Paatshah's chehra, because she's from inside, she's got some sort of innocence about her, even though she's working in this place, but there's something inside about her that's innocent. And as she comes in and she sees and she does darshan of Guru Nanak Dev ji Paatshah, she's taken back. ਉਹ ਦੇਖ ਕੇ ਪਿਆਰੇ ਹੈਰਾਨ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ ਦੇ ਦਰਸ਼ਨ ਕਰਕੇ ਇੰਨੇ ਸੋਹਣੇ ਚਮਕਦੇ ਮੁਖੜੇ ਦਾ. And as she comes inside, Sangat ji, she says, please take this glass of milk. You've been traveling, you must be tired. It will help you to rest and sleep. Guru Nanak Dev ji Paatshah ji ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗੇ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਅੱਜ ਪਿਆਸ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਗੀ. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ we don't feel thirsty today. ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਜੇ ਅੱਜ ਪਿਆਸ ਲੱਗ ਗਈ ਤੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਫਿਰ ਸਾਡਾ ਕੰਮ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਣਾ. They said if I get thirsty today, they said I won't be able to do my work. And she just sat there and just looked and done darshan of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. She came in. She said he's not no normal person. She said I'm telling you. She said he's a true saint of God. And Sajjan Tag said he said that's impossible. He said this is why I started doing all of this. He said I started robbing people and murdering people. He goes once I thought that there were true saintly people on this world too. He goes, but I was so wrong. He goes because when I had my hands burnt, because when I served them and I trusted saints, he goes, when I trusted a particular saint, he goes, I was burnt. He goes, all he was interested in was, he was my money and my wealth. And he said, when I saw that he was actually deceiving me, and he was actually fake, that he was something else from inside, but something else from outside. Jinn mukhor. Those that are something else from outside and something else from inside. Jinn man hor mukhor se kande kachya. that जिन्हां दा मन कुछ होर कहंदा, somebody's mind is saying something else, but from outside is something else. जिन मन होर मुख होर से कांडे कच्चिया. And he said, so for that reason, he goes, I've broke my trust in that there's any true saint. She says, no, I'm telling you. She said, there's something about him. She goes, it feels like he's the form of truth. And Pyare, look at this. Coming away, stepping out of the story for 1 minute, Sakhi for 1 minute. Because we might have a negative experience with somebody that we thought was true. Somebody that wore the garms of the Guru. Somebody that wore the ikOankaar. And we thought that they were the absolute form of truth. And we trusted in them because we thought that this was the man of God. This is somebody that is following Guru Nanak Dev ji. But Sangaji, then we came to, and then we found out that actually no, they're the complete opposite. And we broke, and then it broke our trust. For some people, it completely broke their faith within the Guru's house. For some people, it broke their faith within Waheguruji, the existence of the Creator. For some people, it broke their trust that even that in the house of Guru Nanak, there is no such thing as a saint, there's no saints. But Sangatji, that's not how it works. Pachaji says in Gurbani, this is Han. This is, there are those, but they're very, very rare. Havile nahi kane. This is, there's not many, there's very few. That's the truth. But it doesn't mean that they're all bad. And yes, it doesn't mean that they're all true. Just because somebody's wearing those garms, even if somebody's, yes, they've taken Khande Bate da Amrit and they're wearing the ikOankaar, it doesn't mean that they may not be deceiving. It may be that they're still full of Kaam, Krodh, they're still full of lust. And it doesn't mean that they're bad people. It just means that they're still fighting with this Panchchora inside. They're still fighting with this anger. They're still fighting with that lust. They're still fighting with greed. They've got sometimes we don't look at the background of somebody. Sometimes we don't look at what somebody has gone through in their life, what somebody has experienced. So what we do is we just judge them. Well, we just write people off. Look at Sajjan Tag now, but when we look at him from the outside, all we see is a murderer. All we see is somebody that is deceiving the world, but we don't see that he's been hurt. We don't see that what is in his karma, what is he experienced in his life previously, what's made him like this, what's made him become like this. And he feels that this is the way he's getting his own back. He thinks he's doing the world a favor of getting rid of these people. He thinks that he's getting rid of these people that are just wealthy and that are out for themselves and don't care for anybody else, that aren't helping the poor. So he's actually thinking he's doing a good deed. And we don't sometimes look inside of somebody. We just take them, we look at their outside action. Once somebody makes one mistake and that's it, we write them off. Somebody makes a mistake within the Panth and we think, this is it, this is my chance now. I want to be the first one to tell everybody. I want to be the one to take this to social media. I want to be the hero that tells everybody that I get the following. Sangaji, no. Pachaji says that Pachaji ta us nirguniyareyan da parda takde ne. ਢਾਕ ਲਿਆ ਮੋਹੇ ਪਾਪੀ ਪਰਦਾ. That Satigur ji, this is the way of the Guru's house. That ਉਹ ਪਰਦਾ ਢੱਕ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਪਾਪੀ ਦਾ. ਢਾਕ ਲਿਆ, that ਢੱਕ ਲਿਆ. Pachaji's put this robe over me. Pachaji has put this blanket over me, has covered me up, isn't promoting it to the world what I'm like. Satigur, that ਢਾਕ ਲਿਆ ਮੋਹੇ ਪਾਪੀ ਪਰਦਾ. And we do beinti, says nirguna rakh liya mohe santan ka sadka, that because of the saints I've been saved. Guru Nanak Dev ji Pachaji was that Guru Pyareo that looked at somebody's pachokad, that looked at somebody's past, that looked at how somebody has become like something, what is going on inside of them, how they're in pain, how they are hurting. somebody goes through something in their life. Somebody is going through whatever it may have been that has caused somebody a mental health condition. Somebody might be ridiculed with anxiety. Somebody might be experiencing depression, and we just point fingers, we blame them. No, it's because you've done this, but now they're in that situation. Look at how they've got there, why they've, go back. Think about it. What's caused them to get there? Don't just point fingers and think that you're bad. That's not our path. Our path is, hum nahi change, I'm not good. Bura nahi koi, nobody is bad. Pranavat Nanak tare hai soe, Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, those are saved that reach that state of mind, that start to actually see themselves and the world in that way. And this isn't seeing low of ourselves. This isn't beating ourselves up. This isn't being bad to ourselves, but this is looking at it from a place of absolute humility. So if we was to give somebody that opportunity just to understand them, why that's happened, we look at different ways of dealing with situations, not out of anger. When we see somebody, was Guru Nanak Dev Ji Pachi, they didn't come here raging with anger and saying, I can't believe what you're doing. But Sanghaji, the moment somebody makes one mistake, the Panth people, sometimes within the Panth, they start saying that, you know what? That I'm gonna kick their head in. I'm gonna beat them up. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that to them. Oh, lucky such and such person knows them, or lucky that they're going through this, otherwise I would have kicked their head in. And they come raging with anger, but Guru Nanak Dev Ji Pachi didn't deal with anyone in anger. Sadguru ढाक लिया मोहे पापी पर्दा, because there was compassion there. Guru Nanak Dev Ji Pachi didn't show any anger towards Gauda Rakesh, towards Sajjan Tag. He's burnt, he's hurt from inside, and he thinks he's getting his own back, and he thinks he's helping the world. And sometimes, Sangatji, that people become so weak that karma has got a complete grip over them. But how do we deal with these people? Do we just tell them that they're idiots? And that you're just a pervert, and you can't, you're a bad Sikh. Sangat Guru Nanak Dev Ji Pacha Ji is sitting there, and then he thinks, you know what? Let me try once more. He goes back in. Sajjan Tag comes in, and he says, listen, oh saintly man. He goes, let me prepare a bed for you so that you can rest for the night. Guru Nanak Dev Ji Pachi said, I'm not tired. Guru Nanak Dev Ji Pachi says that if I get tired today, I'm not going to be able to do my work. We're just going to sit here. We just needed shelter for today. We're just going to sit here in the remembrance of Vaheguru Ji. He goes back and he panics now. And he's thinking, no. He's got to be somebody. He's got to be here. He's got to be a spy or someone. He said those same words again. He said that if he sleeps today, that he won't be able to do his work. What work does he want to do? What is he on about? His head's spinning, going round and round. And Sangatji, as he approaches and he comes towards that room where my Sache Pachaji, Guru Nanak Dev Ji Pachaji is sitting, but before he enters that room, he hears something by Mardana Ji. They start to play that rabab. And that sound, it pierces him, it goes through him. And he just sits down outside the room. By Mardana Ji, pyaro rabab bajande pehne, utte Sajjan Tag, oh bar betha je. He's sitting outside of that room and he's thinking this music is mesmerizing. It's Amrit Vela pyareo, Amrit Vele da sama ho gaya je, oh Amrit Vela pinni reh nadiye, chamkad tare, jage sat jana mere Ram pyare, oh sama ho gaya Amrit Vele da. There's a magic in the air because it's that time. Raat kathuri vandiye, sutya mile na pao. There's a kathuri, there's a sense. There's a scent of musk in the air at Amrit Vela pyareo. And he's there absorbing this beautiful fragrance of this rabab, that this tuni, this vibration that is coming out of the rabab from Bhai Mardana Ji playing it. And he's thinking, what's happening to me? And pyareo, as he's listening to the rabab, sound of the rabab, he starts to nod off, starts to fall asleep. As he falls asleep, he starts to see. You know, that dirt that was stuck inside starts to come up. It starts because he's starting to be heated now. That heat, sometimes when we start Naam Simran first, we feel even worse. Our mind is completely off. Why? Because that dirt's been disturbed now and it started to come up. The pichle karma has started to come up now. As he's starting to be cleansed, we're getting darshan of Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paat Ji. As now that, as we say, kaho tal gur seviye, that we say that, kaho tal gur seviye, and it says, ehne se sahaj subaye, darshan parsiye guru ke. When we have the darshan, when we're touched by the darshan of Guru Sahib Ji, darshan parsiye guru ke janam maran dukh jaye, that janam maran, the pain of birth and death starts to go, starts to disperse. Pyareo, he starts to see all those that he has put through suffering, those that he has killed. He wakes up, shakes his head, he said, what's happening to me today? And Pyaro Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paat Ji start to do alap. Alap is when there's no actual words, and just with your voice, you're matching your voice to the sound of the instrument. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paat Ji o alap karde pene. And he's getting more and more mesmerized. And he's falling into this sleep again. As he falls into this sleep, and it's like he's been hypnotized. And he now sees the suffering of the families, of the people that he has murdered, and those that are left behind, those families. He's seeing their faces. He can see the well. He can see the faces of those suffering people that have been left behind without any money, without anyone to take care of them, without anyone to earn for their houses, for their homes. And he's thinking, what have I done wrong? What have I done? And he gets up and tries to shake it off. That mal is coming up. Sangaji, this happens to us. When we first start doing Naam Simran, we're thinking that, oh my God, what's happening to me? I feel something that I feel really uneasy because the mal is being erupted. That janam ki is man ko mal lagi kala hua sya. That what I was blackened inside of us starts to erupt and come outside. It was leaving us. Because we feel worse, we leave Naam Simran. Because we think, no, this is making me go crazy. He comes inside of the room and he falls to his knees and he just sits down. And as he sits down, Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paat Ji start to sing Ujjal kaihaa chilakanaa ghotim kaalaRee mas dhotiaa jooth na utarai je so dhovaa tis Sajjan Sahib Hukamnama चलदिया नाल चलन जिथे लेखा मंगिए तिथे खड़े दिसन. He's singing these words now. Maaf karna, Guru Nanak Sache Paat Ji are singing these words now. And these words are piercing through him. And he's thinking that is Guru Nanak Paat Ji speaking about me? Does he know about all my sins? What's going on? Because what is Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paat Ji saying here to Sajjan and Pyareo? Let's take this upon our own life experiences. Let's take this upon ourselves. Paat Ji saying, Ujjal kaihaa chilakanaa. This is just like that bronze ornament. It's ujjal. It looks clean from the outside. Kaihaa is the bronze ornament. Chilakanaa, it's shining. Ghotim. But if I start to rub it, kaalaRee mas, I find that this kaalaRee, this black mas means ink. It's like this black ink inside. So Sangaji, sometimes we're shining from the outside. We look beautiful from the outside. We've got the right robes on. But when somebody starts to peel us, there's blackness inside. There's irka. There's the blackness of jealousy sitting inside. There's the blackness of hatred sitting inside. There's the blackness of looking down at someone. There's the blackness of thinking bad of someone. There's the blackness of saying that person is bad. Pyareo, ujjal kaihaa chilakanaa ghotim kaalaRee mas dhotiaa jooth na utarai. This is, it doesn't matter how much I bathe from the outside, but that jooth, that impurity from inside does not go away. Je so dhovaa tis, even if I wash this outside body over so 100 times, it doesn't take away the mal from inside. Sajjan Sahib Hukamnama chaldiyan naal chalan. The truth is, Sangatji, Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paat Ji saying, you call yourself Sajjan, you call yourself a friend to all, but listen to me. Your true friend is who? Who is a true sajjan? Say naal main. Oh ne, those that sajjan say. Those are my true friends. Say naal main. That stick by me. That always are with me. Chaldeyan. Even when I leave this world, naal chalan are actually gonna go with me. And who are those, pyare? Those are our gun. Those are our good actions. Our good actions are what are going to go with us. Meaning, even our bad actions are going to go with us. But our friends are those when things get difficult, they come and help us. Sangaji, and good actions are like good friends. So our good actions are our true friends because they are the ones that are going to aid us when we leave this body. Now our bad actions, they're going to take us. They're going to end up taking us into God knows, into, actually God knows what type of body, what type of junni, what type of life form it's going to take us into, pyareo. Those, if we've got those negative actions that are aiding us, those negative actions could take us into, if we live this life full of greed, then that greedy energy that is inside of us, those actions that we've done out of greed, it could take us into a body of a dog. We could, if our mind was revolved around wealth, it could take us into the actual body of a snake, Sangatji. We don't know. Because we're living like that already, and we've already, from inside, we've actually become a snake. From inside, we've become like a dog. And because then that's the energy that is strong inside of us, then we could end up making that our reality and I could end up with that type of body as well. We're going to struggle on that journey when we leave this world. Bhartji saying, but if you've got your true friends with you, you've got compassion with you, you've got truthful living with you, if you've got these things with you, if you've got good actions with you, then that would aid you into then going into a much better place. That could even then take us into that body that is janam maran doho mein nahi, that is outside of the cycle, that is got no karma attached to it, and that then being is there just in that vehicle, in that body. They're completely free, they're liberated, and they're there to serve in their next life. Sangaji, we need those friends. We truly need those friends. There's so many people that I knew of, myself, that I had some sort of interaction with, that have died recently from the current virus that is going on. That's when it starts to hit home. That's when it starts to become real. When people that you know of, I think I've heard about 4 to 5 deaths of now that people that I knew of, Sangaji, that have taken place. And this is when it starts to become real. This is when it starts, we need to start to think, what friends do I want to take that? Let's rephrase it. What friends are gonna actually be standing with me, that are gonna aid me to the right direction, that are gonna help me to go to a positive place. That Bhartji Singh Sajjan say naal main chaldeyan naal chalan, jithe lekha mangiye tithe khade disan. This is where our account will be asked for, where they will be there as witnesses and standing there by us. And Sangaji, that account is happening constantly. That who is standing by us now, that account is going to continue happening, Sangaji. So, pyareo, that Bhartji then go into, it's quite a long Shabad, and I've already taken up a lot of time. So I'll give akri arth now to the rest of the panktiyan. Rahao Bhartji Singh bisram la karke is bare tusi andar pyareo vichar karo, contemplate on what's just been. Bhartji has just said, kothe mandap maadiyan pason chitviyan ha. Bhartji saying there's people out there that are kothe mandap maadiyan. That kothe meaning houses, a house that has got more than one floor. Kothe mandap. Mandap means mansions, huge houses. Maadiyan means tall buildings. Pason chitviyan. Imagine that you've got these beautiful houses, buildings that from all sides, from all sides, chitviyan are painted beautifully. And then but takhiyan kamna avani. Bhartji is saying, but just like if those are equivalent to being crumbled, tathiyan, crumbled, those are equivalent to being crumbled, kamana avani, of no use, vichon sakhniyan, if from inside they are empty. If there's nobody inside of them, then they might as well not be there. They might as well just crumble. And Sangaji, just like that way, we might like look religious from the outside. Our case might tell the world that we are the Guru sect, but if we're empty from compassion from inside, from these qualities from inside, then what's the use of showing the world that I am that Guru sect? Bagga, bagge, kapade, Pachi saying, just like that crane bird that has white feathers, kapade, tirth, manjavasan, and they go and sit at the edge of these ponds, of these sarovars. Sangaji, that go and sit at these pilgrimage places, and they go there, and a bug, Sangaji, Pachi saying that a bug, it puts his head slightly down, has its eyes closed, and it looks as if it's meditating. They're saying, what's the point of you wearing white clothes, going to all these pilgrimages, you going to these sarovars, these pools, these sacred pools, and you sitting there with your eyes closed, but actually, Pachi saying, but you open your eye every so often, very slyly, and then you pick up those fish and and you strangle them, and then and you eat them. Why are you calling yourself pure? Why are you calling yourself a bagga, meaning somebody that is pure, a saintly person? They said, you're not a saintly person. Somebody, how can we relate to this? Sometimes we'll see people, they might be sat, and again we take this upon ourselves. It's not about judging others, and they're saying that, oh, this can happen, this could have happened to us, where we were burnt by somebody claiming to be religious. Sangaji, there's many people that may have experienced this in their life. So they've gone, and they might be sitting at the edge of a sarovar, even a sarovar as pure as the sarovar of Sri Harmandir Sahib, as pure as Sri Tarantan Sahib, as pure as these places. Sangaji, somebody could be sitting there with their eyes closed, but every so often they're opening their eyes. Obviously, they're not going to open their eyes and kill somebody like a bagga, but they could be opening their eyes and then lustfully looking at somebody as well. And they're actually only there just to be looking at girls, just the opposite or the other way around. So Sangatji, Bhataji saying here that as much as the outside appearance, this form counts of having the ikOankaar, but if we're from inside we're empty, then we might as well just crumble, because we're actually doing more damage to the world in this way. Sangatji, we're actually giving a bad name to those true ones, and we're even more dangerous than somebody that is an actual, just everybody knows this person is a thief, this person is a gangster, because we are then coming across something else. So we're even more dangerous, those people are even more dangerous to the society. So Pachi is saying similar ruk sarir mein. Pachi is saying just like the sarir, this is my body, is like that symbol, that tree, that symbol tree. Pachi is saying, what is that ruk, what is that tree like? It's tall. It's tall and it's big, and it looks like that the fruits of it, from when you look at them from outside, they look so sweet. But Pachi saying similar ruk sarir ma, imagine dekh palanna, but what a parrot looks at this tree and he's deceived, because the parrot thinks this is perfect, this has got beautiful big fruits on there, look at the leaves on this tree. But the parrot goes and sits on that tree, say phal kamana avani te gun mein tan han, but Pachi saying the phal, the fruits of that tree is of no use, because when that parrot eats those fruits, it bites into that fruit is bitter. Just like Pachi tell us, they say simmal ruk saraira at dirg at much oje ave askar kamna ave pat. They're saying oje ave askar. Pachi says that fal fikke full bakbake kamna ave pat, maaf karna, the pangati is. It says fal fikke, the fal are tasteless, the fruits are tasteless of that tree, fal fikke full bakbake, and the full even the full Sangatji, the flowers upon that tree, they says they are bakbake, they are nauseous, they actually make you sick. And we could come across somebody like that, or we might be like that, Sangat Ji, that somebody looks at us and thinks, oh wow, look at that Gursikh, look at their damala, look at their kirpan, look at the chola that they're wearing, wow, amazing. And they come across to us expecting to have that fruit from us, expecting that we're going to be sweet from inside and we're going to say something beautiful to them. But actually, what we end up saying is bitter. And we actually just completely would break their heart. That fal fikke full bak bake kamna ave pat. And actually, we're nauseous, meaning we make somebody feel sick in the way we speak to them, the way we belittle them. But we actually look down at them. So, Sangatji, this may have happened to many people where they've gone and from outside they speak so sweet. But when you get to know, and then from inside, what is coming out of them is actually bitter. And they actually make you sick. They can mentally disturb you because of what they're actually up to and how they're actually deceiving you. Because Sangatji, I'm not going to go into it, but there's all sorts that happens out there, Sangatji. But it's not something I want to go into right now. But all sorts are coming to my mind, cases that have taken places that have happened, that people have this sweetness from inside, but actually are up to all sorts. So we've got to be very careful and aware, and who we trust, Sangatji. In the same time, not writing off every saint, every Mahapurkh, but in the same breath, being very careful as well. Paat is saying that andale par uthaya, dugar vaat bahut. They're saying andale par uthaya. They're saying a blind person that is got weight upon their head, that is traveling, dugar. This is that dugar vaat bahut. And they saying they're going through a mountainous area, and the actual route that they've got to take, where they've got to go, is very long. Bahut. And this is akhi lodi na laha. This is akhi lodi na laha. This is, but if they're blind, akhi lodi, no matter how hard they try and look, how are they going to be able to find the path? How are they meant to get across? Meaning, those that are blind from inside, that haven't got the gyan from the Guru, that how are they meant to get through this mountainous, through the challenges of this life without the Guru's gyan? It's impossible, Sangatji. We need the Guru's wisdom to be able to get us through this life that is drowning us, that is full of attachments. Chakriyan, changiyan, avar siyanap kit. What are my chakriyan? I sometimes think that that I will serve in the way I think is best. Changiyan, I will do those actions that I think are good. Avar siyanap kit. And then all these other types of clevernesses, I will try and attempt to escape this life that is challenging me, that all this attachment, this kaam, krodh, lobh, mohankar, that I think I'm going to use many different ways and clevernesses of my own self to get through this. But Paatji is saying to Sajjan Tag, this is no. This is the only way for you to escape from bondage. This is for you to embrace the name of God. And what Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatji means there is, the only way for us to escape, Sangatji, is if we actually go to the Guru and we then take the Naam, we take the Gur Mantra, and we take that Sikhya, we take the Rahat from the Guru. Only taking that from somebody that is already enlightened, going to that Sampuran, that complete Guru Pyareo, which is Guru Granth Sahib Ji, going to the Panj Pyare, taking Naam from the Panj Pyare, taking the Rat from the Panj Pyare, is the only thing, when we follow that, is the only thing that is going to help us to escape from Badda Chutte Hai, from our bondages, that Naam Samal, that we can't try and practice what we think is righteous, because our little mind will get caught up in our own cleverness and end up just doing what I want to do, but it's about what the Guru is asking us to do, and that's the only way we can escape. So Sangat Ji, Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatji ne us Thag nu asal Sajjan bana dita, made him into a Sant Sajjan, into a true saint, and they made him into the Jathedar, the Sikh Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah Ji, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Guru Nanak Dev Ji Sache Paatshah Ji, Pyareo, made him into a true saint and actually made him into the chief, into the head of the Sangat of the Lamba, and it is said to be one of the first Sangats that Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah Ji set up, one of the first dharmasalas to be made, where he then followed the Guru's Upadesh, took Naam from Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah Ji, became drenched in Naam himself, helped those that needed help, and he then distributed his wealth in towards Langar and setting up a Sangat, and then he led the Sangat as well in Naam Bani Simran and gave and showed them the path of truth. That's what Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah Ji can do for us. Those that Sangat Ji that have got that energy inside of them anyway, but might be directing that energy towards somewhere negative, but they're still fortunate that they've got some form of energy inside of them, they've got a drive inside of them that can be then, it can be transmitted towards a positive direction. So इतनी एक बेनती है प्रवान एक नहीं पर अनेका प्रकारां ਦੀਆਂ ਗਲਤੀਆਂ ਹੋ ਗਈਆਂ ਹਨ ਅਣਜਾਣ ਬੱਚਾ ਸਮਝ ਕੇ ਬਖਸ਼ ਦੇਣਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ